The forge is gone quiet, the bellows blow no more. The forge is gone quiet, the smiths have gone home. Only fading embers remain, and my hearth grows cold. One kiss from you to rekindle it all.
Okay, everybody, we are back with the continuation of our session 003 of Queen of Embers. I'm your Game Master, Daniel Fox, and we are continuing with character creation. As I'm sure you can see, Walter has joined us again. Yay, he's back. We have not really apprised him of what we did last session for character creation, so I thought maybe first what I'll do is I'll kind of set us up to talk about what the story's about a little bit, and just kind of remind our viewers and kind of bring Walter up to speed on kind of what we're going to be doing. We'll go around the table and talk about our character concepts, and then we'll work with Walter to build a character of his own. So, what we're doing is we'll be playtesting a campaign that will be published, meaning we're going to take this campaign story written by Samuel Utsala, which I'm in the process of rewriting for my own campaign world. It's going to be, we anticipate probably half a year to a full year of gameplay. It's a long campaign. And it will take place in my game world, Mahal. Specifically, it'll take place within a land called the Rovane Girdle. Now, you all may recall, the Rovane Girdle, of course, skirts the greater country of Aglador. And the year is currently 223. So this is literally within months after the invasion of the Marcher Lords to the north. They've been driven out by King Cassander Malister, the Unifier. The bastard king, Ethan Priam, has ceded the throne, and Aglador has essentially, I wouldn't say conjoined with other countries, but they basically have formed a loose alliance that's called the Dominion.
Do we have any news of what happened with the White Wolf?
In the story, yes.
Okay.
You'll learn all about that.
Awesome.
Indeed. So yeah, we'll definitely plan that because that actually kind of touches back towards some of the older campaigns. As I mentioned before, some old characters will return, but our game's going to actually take place in and around a city called Durendal, which is also known as the Anvil. And specifically, the players around the table will be playing agents of the Dufresne Agency, as we well know. Actually, for our viewers who may not know, the very first Dufresne was played by Walter, Liam Dufresne, many years ago. And this is kind of a continuation of this kind of ongoing story about this group that's been empowered by the king to, much like the Pinkertons, to investigate things. The actual thrust of the story will basically be in and around Durendal. Be some urban stuff and some wilderness stuff. Lots of overland travel, some chase scenes, some other fun stuff. But we started on character concepts last week, and with the premise that we wanted to create characters that were interesting, that were impacted perhaps by the war, but also, and more importantly, have a reason to be a part of the agency. So maybe we could start first with Nick. You can tell us a little bit about your character. And keep in mind, we haven't really named, I don't think we named these characters yet. We can talk a little about their background, what they are mechanically, some of the concepts around that.
So, my character is Gralstetter. He's from pretty far north, and we didn't quite remember the name, but we decided that he was a character that's already been played in a previous campaign, who was kind of the de facto leader of Gralstead itself. Right. And Vernon Stahl's rival. Vernon Stahl was a character I played years ago, and that character was branded and specifically kind of by this other character. So since the Gralsteaders have kind of been like displaced from their city, their town, they've kind of been like moving to this area in Durendal. So
that's right. King Cassander Malister, in fact, is the one who ordered the Baroness of Durendal to take in the migrants from the north through the Gralsteaders. So they now live in and around Durendal for the past 4 to 5 months. They're refugees from the war.
So his order alignment's Candor and his chaos alignment's Cruelty. And he's playing a camp follower.
So why camp follower?
Well, I wanted to play a ranger. It's been I can't really remember the last time I played a ranger class, and I don't think anyone's ever played a camp follower. Kind of what I was going for was like a very rough and tumble outdoorsman type of guy that can kind of one of those people that can kind of fix almost anything and do just a lot of different stuff around the camp. Kind of going for that kind of character.
Like a true factotum, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Man type guy.
Yeah, that's great. So let's move on then to Mike to talk about your character.
So my character, I wanted to play like a relative of one of my previous characters called Hamish Clavager. And so I think we decided that it was going to be a son of Splendid Clavager. And so we haven't named them yet, but the Clavagers are a pretty religious family. So we kind of modeled this character after someone that was kind of risen up in a religious upbringing, has a compassion, order, and a melancholy chaos alignment. But for the profession, I went with Dragoon, mostly because I was wanting to try to duplicate Hamish's kind of path, because he was a targeteer in a previous life.
That's right.
And so the main Gauche book has a sharpshooter, which is very close in what Hamish was, and so that's what I'm going to lead into. But
so you basically already plotted out your 3 professions you want to move
yeah, I plotted out.
It's not a terribly unwise.
Not at all.
It's not.
It's just
I just don't
play
plan things out that far in
characters. I'm
advance.
sorry, I know people have different. They want them to grow naturally, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I usually have a vision of my character and how I want them to kind of grow and how I think. Now, of course, the character can change in the story, but we'll see.
I like that we have different play styles. I think it adds something to the game.
It does. It does. It really does. So being a dragoon is a warrior archetype, so which is also part of. The Clavagers were warriors as well as being religious. So I think it's going to be kind of an interesting combination. He won't be an actual paladin, but he'll be the son of a paladin.
That's right. Cool. That's great. So let's go to Tim.
Well, my character, we kind of talked about being an aristocrat. We usually always have somebody be of the higher station.
He's
but always,
Aaron, right?
yeah, but always in our aristocrats, they have fallen in some way. So I'm of an aristocratic family from Bellegane, that was the capital of Dan's world, or of the Aradane country.
Before it got smashed.
Yeah, if you don't know, there's a comet that fell and destroyed there, a meteoroid that fell and destroyed Bellegane. So he's living through that chaos. So in that chaos and trying to get his kin and his people that he would consider family or other Belleganians to Grendel, he became a highwayman.
Yeah.
So it was the Robin Hood, rob the rich, give to the rich. Or formerly rich. So him joining the Baroness is based on redemption. This is not a path he would ever saw him going down, but survival forced his hand.
Yeah, I think we talked earlier before about the idea that a rare few people in this world get second chances. In this case, it's almost a third chance because you're born of a higher stock, you're blue-blooded, and thus attracted to the Dufresne agency.
It's going to be a running theme with me that that I'm better. That's why I've been given the chance.
What alignments did you
Chance
choose?
it.
Well, with that, we talked pride and arrogance. So I mean, perfect.
So far, you can look down your nose at everyone without even trying.
I know, because I'm so tall.
Not among men for your racial or for your ancestral trait.
Plus, he had like the black hair and all like the perfect.
Yeah, like the blessed by the
blessed eyes, blessed hair.
Yeah. That's right, black hair, black eye, brown eyes.
Hey, those are all random rolls.
Sometimes it just falls.
And I have a perpetual frown all the time.
That's right.
So I do think you are less than me.
Resting Aridane face.
That's right. That was your distinguishing mark.
Yeah. What was the resting Aridane face?
That's what I call it. Resting Aridane face.
Walter, if you like to take a look at all the professions all at once across both books, you can look at this big table right here. Yeah, this should help. So
I saw that you had made some new drawbacks.
We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that soon. I'll talk about that after we finish this. After we discuss Adam's character.
So my character is from another militaristic family with history in the campaigns. I spoke it over with the original progenitor of the family, one of our playtesters, Jeremy, and we came up with the name of Terwin Forrester.
Of what?
Terwin.
Okay. Who is Terwin Forrester?
He is the son of Dismas Forrester, and because Dismas Forrester had worked with the Dufresne Agency, and even though it was a tenuous relationship, he ended up respecting them in the end. He has decided that his son would go and work for the Dufresne Agency.
Yeah, the Forresters are kind of known in the campaign world primarily through his grandfather, a man named Gwydion Forrester, who was also known as Iron Eye, a man of a long military background who eventually went mad and burned himself to death. He was consumed with he was a deranged hero, was his disorder, and he was fascinated by fire, so he constantly tried to catch his enemies on fire.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, my alignment happens to be adaptation and mayhem.
That runs deep in the Forrester line.
Yes, but my profession is a man-at-arms. Part of that was having to deal with like the family ties, but also that. Even though I've played like a warrior every now and then, I don't think I've ever played a starting profession in basic tier that has martial melee. So I wanted to give it a shot.
It's cool.
And he's...
Or a swing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a short spiel.
That's cool. So essentially we have a dragoon, we have a highwayman, a camp follower, and a man-at-arms. That brings us to you, Walter. Now, granted, I know you just kind of begin to get... This is all kind of fresh to you, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're clearly familiar with the land we're around. You're familiar with some of the backstory that's been happening here, some new things and such. The last character you played was Crystal Wolffeather, who was a quacksalver turned alienist. And we had...
Should never die.
Yeah. Any kind of thoughts, like just kind of initial thoughts, not necessarily on profession, but kind of like what you were thinking maybe for a character type?
Come back to me in like... I'm giving some consideration.
No worries.
So yeah, keep
cool. So
you guys talk and I'll...
We'll do that. So one thing we did after last week, I'm sure our listeners probably know, we were kind of discussing like the fact that there just aren't a lot of drawbacks in the game. So we're kind of in this process where we're going through and refactoring Zweihänder RPG for our second republishing, our second print edition. And we decided that it's a good time to add some new options. We were originally going to work those into Main Gauche, but Main Gauche, we kind of felt like, well, if we're going to redo Zweihänder, let's actually take the, quote, errata we had developed for Zweihänder for Main Gauche and actually just kind of lift it and shift it into Main Gauche, or into Zweihänder, rather. And during that time, we actually worked on a bunch of new drawbacks. In fact, we went from 12 drawbacks to 25. So there are some new interesting options for us to explore. So I know previously everyone chose a drawback except for Tim Coron, but I'm going to give you these. Just keep both of them. And this is Take 2, pass it down if you want. Takes that the same score on. Don't give. You can give Walter one too, but it's not necessary yet. He can kind of stuff at the back, tuck at the back of the character sheet if you will for now. Right. But I figure what we do is look at these new drawbacks. If you would like to take one of these, because I think that they offer obviously more options that are certainly I think interesting. And for our readers, essentially we've got. I'll tell you what. I'll rattle them off, and you can we'll talk about them as we kind of begin to select them. So we got Bad Ticker, Black Cataract, Bleeder, Branded, Choleric Temperament, Crappier, Cursed, Deal with the Devil, Debt-Ridden, Dunderhead, Eunuch, Lily-Livered, Melancholic Temperament, Ne'er-Do-Well, Nemesis, Painkiller, Persecution Complex, Phlegmatic Temperament, Sanguine Temperament, Sour Stomach, Split Face, Veteran's Boot, Veteran's Eye, Veteran Hand, and Veteran's Leg. So there's 25 total options now that you can get in Zweihänder. Week 1. So what happened to week 1? Good question.
No, it's on there. It was the last one.
Oh, interesting. It's not on the table. So we'll have to fix that.
Good catch.
All right.
No way, the rule guy caught a missing rule.
So we've got some. So we've got a bunch of new
Deal with the Devil.
alternatives.
That's painful, but I like it.
What read Deal with the Devil if you would?
Your family is cursed, having struck a Faustian bargain with a dark power. Written within your blood, this contract guarantees that your ancestors had to give up a part of their soul. Now this deal falls on you and your offspring. You begin gameplay with 1 permanent chaos rank.
I almost feel like it's not harsh enough. It should be 2.
2?
Yeah.
Well, that's because you want
But
to
you
gain
live
as many
in
chaos as possible.
So I guess that makes sense. If any of you
what's the
guys have
downside?
not watched the first couple,
When you're flying
Actually,
into the
no,
danger zone like you are.
He played a pretty orderly character, so they have yet to see.
I was good.
Yeah.
They have yet to see Nick at his true power.
Yeah.
In his final form.
True power.
Yeah, you've yet to see my final form.
Ne'er-do-well.
Read Ne'er-Do-Well out, if you will.
That one's pretty good, too. That sounds like some of our characters we've had before, though.
Right?
You are,
Yes.
you are freckless, irresponsible, and prone to idolism. It does not mean that you are completely useless. However, you are unreliable when the chips are down. You cannot assist others with skill tests. That's a big one. I don't know, man. I think the permanent chaos rank is harsh. Because really, you only have 9 then.
Yeah.
That's right.
You have. I mean, come on.
You just need to be a good little boy and you'll be fine.
There are plenty of other ways to get permanent chaos ranks, particularly in main gouge.
Right. Well, and
So.
And there's been plenty of times that I've been at 9 and 9.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is stressful.
More often than I want to admit
I've been
to.
there. I've been there. I do like the one that gives you an addiction too.
So read it
Because
out.
there's been times I really wanted to start with an addiction.
Painkiller?
Didn't have the option to. So yeah, that one's called Painkiller. You escape the stresses of your daily life and the horrors of what's out there by self-medicating. Work with your GM to select a single addiction your character begins play with.
Yeah, we thought this one would be interesting because we oftentimes, I always think, like when we were working on these, we were thinking about previous character archetypes, like what we've done before in the past. Like my character's an alcoholic, or he's addicted to laudanum or something like that. So I thought it'd be interesting to introduce this, where you can start with something mechanically penalizing out the gate. That's like that.
Makes sense.
See, I think the veteran ones are probably the most punishing. But I always play.
I think so.
I like a martial character. Split face sounds pretty interesting too. But
What does that mean?
That's whether you took a heft of an axe to the face, your nose was broken in a fight, or born with a deformity, you have a poor sense of smell.
I was thinking of carrying on the family.
What's the effect?
You have to flip it's basically flip to fell any smell and taste.
See, I feel like that's not it's not punishing enough too. I feel like you should have some sort of like negative to interactions or something like that too.
Why do you hate yourself, Nick? Why do you want everyone to suffer?
I just want them to be on par with each other.
It really can depend
I don't
on
want
the
some to be stronger, like weaker
because
than
weak
the others.
weak lungs, and all the veterans are
It
harsh.
sucks. They're
But when you roll. That's the
right.
point, you know.
True.
And sometimes, and that's what we've always said. Some drawbacks shouldn't be as harsh because it will promote people like me to take a drawback. Because I won't take them because I always end up getting veterans boo every time.
Or eunuch, yeah.
Or eunuch.
At least there'll be less
the
units
last
now.
3 games.
I appreciate that there's less units.
Well, and not all drawbacks are supposed to be the same.
Yeah, I've had eunuch the last 2 games. Yeah.
You have to be careful when you try to introduce the word balance in the game because
That's a good point.
It's what feels right.
Well, crop ear's just the opposite. I mean, but it's hearing. It's the same
That's
thing.
true.
It's flip to
Okay,
fell.
I get it.
Hearing happens more often than
Hearing does.
tasting, but yeah.
But I mean, think about it. I mean, you're in a city environment, maybe smell and Dan. If one of us is there, he's going to use it against.
I think it's a question of which would you personally, as a person, rather? What sense would you rather lose? A sense of hearing or a sense of taste and smell? You think about it from the mechanical perspective. Think about you, the person.
I'd rather keep my hearing.
Yeah.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hearing, sight, limbs.
Losing taste and smell would smell.
Yeah.
It would
really
suck
pretty
because I really
bad.
do like food, but I
Yeah.
really like hearing as well.
Anything sound appealing to you, Walter?
Let me. So we had a highwayman, a dragoon, a man at
Except what I
arms, and what was the
really like
last
hearing.
one? What's that?
It is
Campfire.
nice
That's
to
right.
hear.
Yeah.
So I had an idea of I was going to use the convict archetype from this, and I saw myself as having been like a sort of unwitting stooge that's worked from the inside, sort of to reduce the sentence, and is now like serving out like what would have been like basically on the equivalent of work release.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, so I would serve as like sort of extra expendable muscle, like the ability to like break fingers and do shakedowns, and sort of I turned against like a criminal underworld that I never really cared to be part of in the first place, and just sort of a person like a man out of space, if you will, someone who doesn't really fit in anywhere.
That's interesting.
Sort of low key and sort of a adaptation. I don't know if you guys have seen the new television version of Get Shorty, where the Irish guy is like takes the role of like the thug who wants to get into the movie business. Like, the guy wants to have a better life and has these like sort of fanciful visions of what he wants to be, but he's also smart enough to know that it's never going to happen. That this is who he is.
So let's play that archetype for a minute. So would you be willing to do like an Irish accent?
I don't know that I could. I could try it.
Okay.
I'll give it a shot. If it goes stupidly, then I'll stop.
That's what
I was
System
thinking-
Zeros are for.
Well, I was thinking
So like when I do accents.
because the
That's
Dufresne
why I avoid them
agency.
so much.
Let's be clear: the Dufresne agency only selects people who are worthy of being selected. So that means, as a convict, you have been somebody worthy of being released. So that means you very well could have been, perhaps, one of the Marcher Lords, one of the invaders, or some right-hand man to one of the invaders from the north, who basically kind of flipped, or was flipped at least at some
That makes
point.
sense. I could be a defector.
Yeah,
That would
so
put some really interesting interactions between your character and mine too.
I think so. Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
I'm a
So-
turncoat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd make your ancestry. You'd be a Dunman. Would be your ancestry. So what I'd probably suggest now, Walter, is just going to start going through the character creation process and select the
Okay.
things that you want.
All right.
The only thing you need to really randomly roll are your primary attributes.
Right.
But you can just literally start from the beginning of chapter 3 and work your way all the way through it.
I'd like to go with the name Alistair because it's a
Love
good
it.
Irish name.
Okay.
Alistair.
So you're going to play
Alistair
a Dunman convict.
Yeah.
Kevin McAllister.
Kevin McAllister?
Mhm.
Yeah. Should never leave you
So
home
you're
alone.
a Dunman. Okay, and you're perhaps one of the right hand. Your right-hand man or a torturer.
So I traded I would have been a torturer. Almost certainly. Like an interrogator of the worst kind.
So you're basically a torturer for the Marcher Lords. That's interesting. So clearly they saw that it's not you're just a torturer, but you're clearly clever. Like perhaps too clever for your own good. And the Dufresne see value in that because you offer a unique world perspective that perhaps they look for. Because the Dufresne, although they are technically empowered by the crown, they do operate in a sense as an independent agency. So you can almost kind of think of them as kind of like the... they really don't have they don't care what your ancestry is or where you were born as long as you are worthwhile bringing to the agency. So you kind of bring the thing that perhaps they don't have to the table. I like that a lot. That makes sense. That's great.
Je ne sais quoi.
I love it.
That little something something. I'm also willing to do what a lot of people won't.
That's right. You find the edge of the table and you go past it. And then you break people's faces on it. When necessary.
You would definitely do anything.
What is
for
a
Klondike bar?
Is the convict a warrior archetype?
I believe it's a knave.
Where do you see that on the book?
It's in the table in the room.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. I saw the classic ones. I must have missed that.
Convict is a knave.
No.
No,
So
the main gauche ones are in bold.
Oh, of course.
So while Walter's working through character creation, let's go back around the table and start talking about new drawbacks. Does anyone want to change their drawback that they currently have?
I have a question about one.
Yes.
So, sanguine temperament.
Yes.
You cannot load or take aim without spending an additional action. In addition, whenever you use the special action of wait, you lose one action point.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read if you would just read the entirety of Sanguine Temperament.
Okay. You are rather outgoing, but also jittery and have a hard time sitting still. You may suffer from jimmy leg and are unable to keep a steady hand in the thick of battle unless concentrating.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of curious how that would work with, say, like Heartless Speed.
You'd probably still have to spend an AP.
Okay.
I would say in those cases.
So instead of just rolling, you'd spin an AP roll, and if it is, okay, it's still just one AP instead of the full
That's right.
cost. Okay.
Yeah.
But it would still cost you one. Okay, so that'd
That's
be
right.
interesting. I was just wondering how some of these things would
That's
work.
good. That's a good question.
I'm interested in switching from debt-ridden to bad ticker.
So let's read Bad Ticker out.
What are addendum considered for the races in the book?
Just
human.
Go for it.
You want to take Grim
So,
Resolve, Walter?
You're going to be like,
So
Grim
bad
Resolve.
ticker. You suffer from a
Definitely.
debilitating sickness, which makes your blood stir slowly. It is slowly eating away at your precious humanity, bit by bit, and inevitably will lead to your doom. Effect: whenever you fail to resist against stress, fear, or terror, you gain an additional 3 corruption.
How about we just give you that one and deal with the devil?
Okay.
I'll take 2, please. You can take as many drawbacks as you want, but you only get 1 fate point.
Right.
You want to take multiple drawbacks? You're more than welcome to. But you only get 1 fate point.
Bad ticker.
So I mean, I'm playing a character who's a little bit older.
He's middle-aged, right?
And I feel like it just seems to jive a little bit better with the character in terms of like that as opposed to debt ridden, because if he's a leader, like, I don't know, I guess you could have a broke leader, but wouldn't be terribly common. I don't know.
I think the bad ticker is a good idea, though. The stress that would come from being a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And
Are you the leader?
stress from
Huh?
Well, he's
We
a
haven't
leader
decided
for
that
also.
yet.
I
his
would like to look at some of the backstory of this character so I can get a little bit better
Right.
handle on what he went on specifically that I may not know about, because we played this campaign like 10 years ago.
Well, I think that's kind of up to you to decide. I mean, essentially, the Gralsteaders were driven out of the north. They couldn't. Stonehold was burnt to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Danton Thorne and his people kind of died at Cauldron Lake, or died at the lake, that lake up there, and they were driven out. The Gralsteaders were driven out toward the middle of the war when the White Wolf, Hannibal Kincaid, had allied all of the Marcher Lords. And it's kind of and if you're looking at the country map, which our viewers can't see, but they essentially swept west to east to Stonehold, and they left Stonehold and went straight south and started just ravaging the northern parts of Aglador. And Stonehold and Gralstead were burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
They just left. They did never intended to return. They intended to literally invade and occupy Aglador. They were driven away. Kincaid and his people, they were supposedly driven back to the Horn Society in Gwarhov, to the north, and they were lost in the mountains. You remember the Horn Society and that whole valley in the Gwarhov is all filled with mist. And it's very easy to get lost there, but he has not been heard from for several months.
There's some spooky stuff up there, too.
Yes.
Pictish
live out there.
That is the land of the Picts.
Yeah. Pictish are out there, and they're friendly to nobody.
It's James Cameron stole from you.
Thanks, James Cameron. That's right. It's the path to the first shore,
Yes.
if you recall. Where the Eredane of old repeatedly landed in their ships and came south during the early Second Age and eventually settled in what was now known as Aglador.
There was a short little trip of like 2-3 sessions of us trying to go back to the first shore.
That's right.
And,
Played a few things.
I played.
We played almost a 2-year campaign going back to the first shore.
Well, no.
Previous to that. This is before your time, Adam.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That
was
the one I'm talking about. I played Percy Coventry, which was brother to Ulysses Coventry, the very temperamental reeve I played that shot a dude's head off right in front of everyone. I don't know if you were there for that game or not.
I don't know.
I don't think Tim was playing at the time.
Yeah.
Was that like? Did you guys went up
I think that was
way up
after
north?
That was stopped down for a while.
That's right.
Oh yeah, no, it was after the Durendal campaign. So yeah.
That was the last one I played.
So does anything, Tim, to you look interesting in the drawbacks? Or you stay away from them still?
I usually just, I've always taken one. I don't know. Just kind of
Give it some thought. Give it some consideration. Adam, are you choosing a new one?
So I am cursed, which kind of ties in line with the family trait, and so I was thinking another one that could be a family trait would be deal with the devil, or and also following that, I could be split face or veteran's eye, because of me being raised in that militaristic family, and something bad could have happened to me already.
It's up to you. What you want to choose? I think those are all interesting choices.
And I'm torn between the four. Mechanically, I don't like cursed, but story-wise, I'm still willing to have that because I think it's important. So
it's 3d10 plus 25, Walter, for your primary attributes.
Okay, I was rolling my
Oh, okay,
dooming.
sorry. I didn't realize you were...
I was rolling my dooming.
My apologies, sorry.
No problem.
so I got it narrowed down to 3, which would be deal with the devil, split face, or veteran's eye.
We'll give it some thought.
Yeah.
Mike?
One I was looking at was sour stomach.
Yes! Read that out loud.
That one. You have pains in your stomach that make it difficult to keep down rich food. This also means other kinds of substances can have a poor effect on your health and keep you confined to the water closet. An effect. After taking a dose of laudanum, a deliriant, or consuming a substance the GM sees as being hard on your stomach, you cannot recover to unhindered in the peril condition track, only to imperiled for the next 24 hours.
I like that.
So, I kind of like the idea of having a little bit of a sensitive tummy.
Reminds me of,
Tummy.
coming from Mike. This
The human trash compactor.
Right.
Excuse me. Well, if you're going to throw it away...
Throw it away, alright? I mean,
Like if you're gonna throw it away, boss.
I think I've
Is that
thought
what you
about
put
it.
me at in the new book? Gosh, no.
Hey, spoilers. Yeah. Well, if you're going to throw it away, Bossler. First it was Mike like the boss, Bossler, and Zweihänder. Now it's Michael, if you're going to throw it away, Bossler, and Main Gosh.
That's funny. I'm rolling a distinguishing mark.
Alright.
4.
Oh, nice.
What'd
So
you get?
Steely gaze.
I think that
That's a good one.
I'll go ahead and take Veteran's Eye. I think
Okay.
someone in the backstory, somebody knows my family's history and took my eye. Like
They took your eye?
Well, I mean, in a fight or something like that, yeah. But
cool.
Like
You're that creepy guy.
Yep.
You're one of Iron Eyes, eh?
Yeah.
I think
You an Iron Eye?
I think Split Face would be hilarious for a aristocratic character who has to buy the finer things but could be getting ripped off the entire time with like the crappiest food, the worst wine.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell.
Well, you couldn't tell.
Oh, that's interesting.
I only buy fine wine even though I can't taste it.
Right, you have to buy it because
You
it's
could
part of your
literally just be
state
water in
regime.
a bottle. This is the finest cast. And do you notice the simple cherry? Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
You could
Very witty.
certainly taste the texture.
That'd be a
Feel the
Linden.
texture.
That would be a Linden switch. You never knew what he was tasting.
Well, that's because Lyndon was actually a. Because when we first started that campaign, we hadn't even started developing Courthammer yet,
Huh.
and I was a protagonist who was of the aristocracy. So it's like flying in the face. So we had to come up with reasons why he couldn't even read. So it was like, well, yeah, he was spoiled. Why read when you can be read to?
I remember all that.
Yeah, and he had all these novels that he had written, but he had dictated them to a team of people that were writing because he
Ghostwritten.
Yeah, he insisted that they should be written in the manner that like you speak, and so it was like the adventurous exploits of Lyndon Genevieve the Younger, Man of the People. That was the title of them. And they were popular amongst the lowborn, but the lowborn couldn't read, so they didn't sell well.
So there's a particular drawback. I was really I thought if I was picking a character, I would choose Persecution Complex. Everyone, literally everyone, is out to get you. There's no doubt in your mind that others may be following you. You are trying to trick you or ridiculing you behind your back. The drawback is you cannot rest or recover peril in urban areas unless you take a dose of laudanum before resting.
That's Grover Caldwell, for sure.
100% is. Yeah. One of your previous characters is the first thing I thought of, the Persecution Complex. Yeah. They're all out
They're all out
to get me.
even my own party.
That's right.
Yes.
Hey, didn't Uncle Tom start an orphanage up with you so that way you can sacrifice kids or something? I don't know. He's there to help.
That's all right. That's great. So you're going to choose Veteran's
I
Eye.
am going to choose. Oh, you know what? I don't think I've ever read that. I don't think we did.
I don't think you have. No.
So,
That's me too, right?
Veteran's Eye. You have lost an eye. It may have been from a childhood prank gone wrong, an abnormality from birth, or the devil made you gouge it out. Regardless, you may have a glass bead where it once was, wear an eye patch over the empty socket, or simply let its hollowed-out recess go uncovered.
Badass.
You're going to go with number 3, right?
In fact,
Because you're a forester, you're not going to hide.
well, Gwydion
Had an iron.
had an iron.
Yeah,
What's the
eye
effect
patch.
on
I guess
it?
that's true.
The effect is reduce the distance for all ranged weapons you use by 3 to a minimum of 1.
Dang.
Because his name was Old Iron Eye.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, I forgot that.
Depth perception is the challenge with Veteran's Eye.
Yep. And so,
You honestly get used to it when stuff is like really close to your face. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. Stuff that's really close to your face is fucked up. But
What did you end up choosing, Mike?
Oh, I went with the weak stomach.
So everybody
Sounds-
chose something new.
Yeah.
Tim, did you settle on something?
We got a bunch of them cleared up now. No.
Do you have the Nikolai Kostler, whatever that guy's name is, from Game of Thrones, the really fucked up broken nose?
I thought it was
Split face, so I
face.
get robbed of all the food that I eat.
No, like Nick, the actor has a broken nose, why his nose looks so funky.
Is that the guy who plays Braun?
No, it's the guy who plays Jaime Lannister.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Really? His nose is...
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
why his
I guess
nose has
there's
got that weird bump on it. Do you want to take split face though?
I'll take it just because...
You get a fate point! It's important! Take a drawback, get a fate point.
I already know it's going to come into everything that I drink and eat now, though.
You can't taste the poison. Well, the poison was tasteless anyhow.
We're an ugly bunch.
How's the food
So,
taste
wait,
here?
at this point, could he actually turn his nose up to us?
He probably literally did. Somebody probably bashed him in the nose.
I was going to say,
for
that's
that.
what I was going to use. This is the broken nose that never healed right.
Yeah. Little smart ass.
Yeah.
Teach you to turn your nose up
Pretty
at
sure
us.
that's where it came from. I was thinking I was better than them.
That's right.
Popped you in the face.
That's great.
Hell yeah.
That's good. So how's progress, Walter? What have you come up with
Very
so far?
good. Very good. So, yeah, he's lowborn and forgotten.
Oh, Forgotten's a good
Yeah,
upbringing.
I really liked that one quite a bit, actually. And this one, I figure it will add to, like, sort of a mystery. I think he's a person who has always gotten to a place that he shouldn't be just by some level of, like, skill and doggedness. Like, he's always managed to outstretch his, like, station.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that means. Like, he's very coy and unwilling to talk about where he comes from. But he is he's not a climber so much as he just very steadfastly moves in one direction.
Mm-hmm.
And he has pale green eyes and chestnut hair, and is a big guy. He's 6'1", 247.
Oh, yeah.
So he's
So he's husky?
yeah, he got the husky type, and then he was relatively tall, like in the 83 or something on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So he's which is good, and he has steely gaze as a distinguishing mark, by the way.
That's cool.
So he'll look pretty cool.
He's an adult.
Yeah,
I forgot that my
Yeah, I figure
character's frail,
mid-30s.
So that makes sense for the sensitive stuff.
I figure mid-30s is probably about right.
Yeah.
So that would be like a military veteran, but not like at the end of the career yet.
Yeah.
Not office work still.
Love it.
All right.
No, I'm thinking
So-
you as Alfred from The Lost Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let Walter finish up his character, plugging all that in, and then we'll start. What I'd like for everybody else to do is go to your archetype in the book and start writing down your trappings. And after you do that, you're gonna select one thing that's iconic about your character. We'll discuss that after you plug in all your trappings by archetype.
Cool. I'm gonna go with mystery and exclusion.
Love it.
His,
That's great.
was his.
That's really cool.
It's
I like that.
early.
That's going to add it adds a really interesting dynamic. It's not so dissimilar to, well, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Sunshine, that previous character Sunshine, Eckhart. Which is interesting to see.
Little sunshine.
Yeah.
Badass.
Sunshine was the beginning story, right? He's the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Matt Fulbright wrote those Danziger Eckhart stories. But I like the idea of particularly kind of like the forgotten upbringing, the kind of mystery behind, like his time with the Barcher Lords. But clearly he has value, and he's kind of almost like, because if you think about it, like when we try to create characters together, what I really like is that we kind of create, in essence, what is the A-team? We create somebody with something, everybody has something that unique they do around the table, but no overlap. So you
Yeah.
kind of have that go-to person. And I think, when we think about previous games, when we started developing Zweihänder, that's one of the challenges we found with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 2nd Edition, and Dungeons & Dragons especially, is that you just didn't have characters that did one thing really uniquely. Like, you had times where, it's suddenly, remember Chauncey, in 2nd Edition, was a better bow fighter than, our archer, because he just had better stats. And I always liked about the professional traits is they kind of gave you something that nobody else could do, so you had that one piece of uniqueness. Now, if you look at, D&D, you have, a bunch of fighters, they all kind of do the same thing. They all get the same stuff. They can take divergent paths, but they pretty much do the same thing. With Zweihander, because the characters they really only have that one particular knack that is not shared with anybody else. Everyone has something unique they can do. So when we create characters around the table, we're literally creating something that's like a true kind of joint party. I like the idea of Session Zeros in particular for that, because we kind of create these characters that are complement one another in that sense from a mechanics perspective, but also you don't feel like you're being robbed or the spotlight's not being taken by somebody else because you get something that only you can do.
That is true. All right.
Convict gets, what's their professional trait?
Jailhouse Rock.
What is that?
When I parry a melee weapon, immediately make an opportunity attack.
Nice.
So, parry response. Yeah, it's really good.
It requires a barehanded weapon, I believe.
Yeah, it's
Does it require a
a
barehanded
melee
weapon?
weapon of the brawling type.
Oh, brawling. Okay, cool. Well, there's a lot of brawling weapons that have been introduced into the game with main gouge. So you'll find something that'll be really fitting, I feel. This is the brawling type. So some brawling weapons include barehanded, obviously. Garrote is brawling. Knuckle Dusters brawling. I think that's all of the brawling stuff in main gouge core. But then, I'm sorry, Zweihänder core, but I believe main gouge adds new ones. I'd have to look at the back of the character creation.
I think the Knuckle Dusters make sense. It's an urban environment. He's sort of like he works people over. It's something he can have with him at all times, especially since I have the holdout.
Holdout, yeah.
Brawling. Alright. Barehanded, Blackjack.
Blackjack.
Who's brawling?
Cestus. Cestus is the weighted glove.
Ugh.
The leaded glove. Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool, too.
Yeah. Cestus or Knuckle Duster, for that matter. Yeah, I think the Cestus and the Blackjack were the new brawling weapons in main gouge. But certainly plenty to choose from.
Right.
I keep I haven't seen the show that you're talking about, Walter, but the image it kind of evokes in my mind is if you've seen the what is that show that Cillian Murphy and Tom Hardy was on Netflix? I think they were both on season 1 about the Irish gang.
The Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders, yeah.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's very interesting.
So are we getting everything that's on the...
Yep.
What?
Yeah,
We've never gotten everything on the craftings. Usually you pick 4 things and that's like... Alright, bitches, go survive.
Yeah, we can usually make it work.
Yeah, I think we have that'll give us quite a bit of medicine and poison between one another too, to really kind of display how some of those mechanics work.
Do we start with points to spend? I can't remember.
Yeah, so everyone will start with 1,100.
Okay, so we'll basically be like halfway through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tier 1. Okay, I'll do that when I'm done with it, putting everything in.
No worries.
I think I'm close though. I just filled out my...
I'm a fan of the Convict. The Convict was specifically modeled with Danziger Eckhart in mind.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll try to that.
The Jailhouse Rock stuff though is awesome because
Very cool.
Jailhouse Rock is an actual fighting style.
Totally is.
Were you in our last
in the American martial arts
Gangs of Cairo campaign?
I do not think that I was. Okay. I definitely heard a lot about it. All right, so I need.
So yes, if you haven't spent your reward points, obviously everybody gets 1,100 to spend.
Oh my goodness, I get heavy boots.
Oh! We were just talking about this last time. I get heavy boots!
I'm telling you.
Yeah, soft shoes or heavy boots. It's going to change your difficulty rating on some stuff.
Soft shoes or heavy boots, too.
Yeah, this may be the only game where we don't really have any mechanics based around it.
Steal a dice from you.
You can put a sidebar in main gouge about the effects of shoes on travel. Let's mechanize everything.
So 3d10 plus 10, is that how it works?
3d10 plus 25.
Plus 25.
Yep.
All right.
And at the once you generate all your stats down the line, you have 2 options. You can either take your lowest and move it to a 42, or you can swap any 2 values.
All right,
That's some of the new rules in the Zweihänder second edition print. Or second print edition. Ugh. Not to imply there's a second edition, but that new print book's going to be pretty badass. The new layout is really, really cool. As an example, if you look at... So we're on, like, this new printout we have in front of us. The viewers can't see this, but we're looking at the new layout for drawbacks, which I believe in the original print, drawbacks were on page... They start on, like, page 60... Gosh, where do they start? The drawbacks start around... Gosh, can't remember, 63. And here they're about the same place. They're at 63, 64, 65. Even despite the fact that we went from 12 drawbacks to 26, we're actually saving pages during the new layout because we kind of standardized things. Like uses of the same font type has helped. We have new call-out bars. And we have a ton of new artwork too. I'd like to note. You've probably seen that too. Like there's a ton of new kind of smaller cartouches littered throughout the book. One thing Ken Duque is doing is he's taking a lot of some of the unused artwork that Dan Mandich had worked on and reworking into the book. So the second print edition for Zweihänder, which you can still pre-order up until 24th of December, but more importantly, you can pre-order starting next year on Amazon. We'll have a lot of new artwork and a whole new layout. It'll be completely different. Plus, it has sepia tones in it, so it's easier to read tables. Cool. Yeah, a lot of cool new stuff. I'm pretty stoked. I think people will be pleasantly surprised and pleased with it.
All right, you said you can either take your lowest stat and turn it into a 42 or swap 2?
Yes.
Correct.
Is it swap 2 or swap 1?
You swapped
One
2
between
values.
another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was
it's-
like, well, hold on.
I mean, swap 2 is in swap 2 values.
Yeah,
So
swap
one
2
value
values.
is the other.
So if you remember, one of the challenges I feel sometimes as Zweihänder, you end up with a character who doesn't quite fit the vision of what you wanted because you roll your stats.
And if you roll poorly on
Yeah.
the lowest
one stat.
Yeah.
Right, it can completely undud your character and create a no primary attribute, really a throwaway attribute, I feel. However, for certain archetypes or character types, it is. So I think it's why we kind of allow that now within those new rules is just swap 2 values because it seems fair because rolling down the line is punishing enough. But being able to either select the lowest and turn it to a 42 or swap those 2 values is, I think, helpful. Did you swap any couple values?
No, I just moved one to 42.
Oh, did you write that in pen?
Oh, just the normal starting trappings, sure.
Yeah, be sure to start populating all your stats and stuff in there too, because we're gonna do a little mock combat.
I put my
after we
brawn
come back.
to 42 is what I did.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's smart. Yeah, because
Oh, I
your
did that
character
for-
was kind of like between 43s and 49s, I believe.
It was
right?
exactly average. I didn't roll very high or very low.
43 and 49 is pretty good rolling, though.
Yeah, 42 is the average.
39 was my lowest at the end of it. And
Intelligence.
and then 46 was my highest overall.
Yep, that's
So,
right.
Really pretty. Right. Nice.
So we want to switch at a talent that costs double.
So if you
Because I have Saddleborn, but
yes, if you want to buy a talent that is not assigned to your profession, you must double the reward point cost.
We'll swap it.
So you would spend, as opposed to spending 100, you spend 200.
200. That's what I thought. Okay.
Which you can certainly do. Just know that it gets more costly as time goes on. And
Right,
I think
right.
we need to also have a good story reason, obviously. So, I mean, Saddleborn may not make sense for your character as an example now, right?
Right.
But this won't be an urban campaign, primarily. Keep that in mind. It'll be part of it.
Okay. We've just never had horses.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Well,
if you want to choose an alternative talent, I certainly encourage you to do so.
Right, because the Dragoon, I think all of its talents are around mounts or being on
That's
a
right,
carriage
because they are a dragoon, literally the mounted warrior.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, I understand. I'm not just going to swap all of those.
Right.
So I swapped my brawn and agility, because agility was actually my highest, which was hilarious. I was a very nimble giant thug.
Hey, that happens sometimes.
You were really good with the knife game and actually stabbing everything.
But you were not very brawny.
No.
You're a large man that wasn't brawny but very agile.
So it made more sense to
Yeah.
swap the brawn.
Yeah.
And now that's my highest. My 2 highest are brawn and willpower. I can live with that. That makes the most sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, of the we talk about, like, the value of primary attributes, the ones that really count for combat, it's usually brawn, and then combat. The ones that count for, like, all their situations, willpower. Because of peril condition track. Peril threshold's important.
If you're a ranged fighter, then perception can matter a lot of times because you
Yeah.
have finesse weapons.
Yeah, your
Finesse
perception...
agility.
is
Agility.
Your perception affects your initiative. That's how
Agility.
quickly you can react.
And
And
range.
agility...
Yeah.
Yeah, in range.
Mhm.
And agility impacts your movement. And other things, too. particularly if you have the right professions. Line up for that.
Alright, I'll keep it just because it's...
What chapter is Talents? I don't remember
this
the
character.
I believe
Talents?
it's chapter 4.
Chapter skills.
Five.
Five.
Oh, there it is. It's 6.
Six.
Close.
Sorry,
You're
6.
close.
One more, that's right.
9.
7
You're
is
close.
trappings, 8 is
That's right.
combat.
It's kind of weird talking about chapter numbers now with Mangouche, too, but they all have distinct Latin names.
Yeah.
Liber Umbrarum. The Book of Shadows.
Shredders.
So let's talk about some of the special
Definitely
items.
taking that.
Well, let's wait until everyone finishes
Okay,
first.
okay.
Yeah.
So I have an idea for mine.
Yeah, I think one thing about Zweihänder, for our listeners, while we're still writing and everything and getting all of our stuff plugged in, every character, when you create it, comes with their kind of bog standard trappings based on their archetype. At least that's the baseline rules. And then rules was written obviously assumes that everyone starts with something completely unique, something iconic about your character or profession or archetype or story or ancestry, something that you can choose that's above and beyond just kind of what you get.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going to define here briefly once we kind of go through the rest of this. Has everyone written down their new drawback already? Because if so, I'm going to take back these sheets.
Okay.
You written the effects already? I'll take them back so we can get them out of the way. And
There you go.
thank you. Did you have a chance to look at drawbacks yet, Walter?
I did. I decided to pass on a drawback
Okay.
this time.
Alrighty. Sounds good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So just easy amount of papers we have around the table. Keep it simple.
I'm just filling out my, I'm purchasing my
all good.
abilities and
It's all good.
such now.
Certainly no
1, 2, 3,
rush.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9.
And be sure to spend 100 for your initial professional trade.
Got it. Okay, so 10. I gotta
Yeah.
pick one more.
Why I was like...
So, Nick, for your character, have you thought about a character name yet?
Yeah, we were gonna look it up.
I couldn't find it on the old wiki.
Oh shoot!
Yeah. Couldn't find
Okay.
it.
I swore
I
we
had-
named that guy somewhere.
That's
We
what I
did
thought,
name
too.
him. I no idea.
Yeah, because he kept on giving your character a lot of shit.
Yeah, lost.
They weren't nemesis, but they were definitely variety.
Yeah, let me try looking it up. But
Okay.
while we're kind of waiting, I know, Mike, have you thought about character names?
I mean, besides Claviger, I mean, I'm always terrible at making first names. Except for when I'm trying to be punny like Morty.
So what's your character's class again?
He's a Dragoon.
Okay.
So it's something Claviger. So let's talk about your family. So there was a Splendid Claviger.
Right?
There was a Hamish Claviger.
Were there any other Clavigers in the previous games? I thought there were.
There's only 2. We've only spoken about 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we had another
Hmm.
Claviger. Okay, good. So then,
How about Harlan?
Harlan?
Yeah.
Harlan?
Yeah.
My son's middle name.
Middle name?
Oh,
Oh,
the
really?
second time you have my son's name because he Jack too.
Yeah, Jack.
I had no idea.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So are you looking for something a little more British? A little more plain? Like 1 or 2 syllables?
Yeah, like 1 or 2 syllables, because, I mean, Hamish is a pretty simple, Splendid.
Ashley.
Angus.
Angus. There's a lot of Anguses, though.
There are a ton of Anguses.
So many Anguses.
Angusi. Which Angusi are you?
Nuno.
Do you know Claviger?
Guillaume.
No. Nuno as in Sir No.
Oh, Nuno? Noki, so with a G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the name, Adam?
Terwin.
Terwin? How do you spell that?
Terrwyn.
Terwin Forrester. With 2 R's.
Yep. Okay. It's a Welsh name.
Tim, did you think about a name?
I'm horrible at names.
Yeah, what was your surname? Did we decide your surname?
No, you said you were going to look that up too. You said you were going to try and find a Belgian house middling Belgian house or
Whose house?
Yeah. Are you a descendant of any major characters? I don't think you
You can
are.
make me anything you want, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. You could make me a Steeples, but I mean that would be probably.
That wouldn't be bad though. That's interesting.
They've moved. A lot of them haven't they moved mostly out of Belgium at this point?
Yeah, I mean Bellingham's gone. I mean, consider this: Nastasia Steeples was one of the first founding members of the Dufresne Agency.
Right. I knew that. That's why I.
So it could be the son of Nastasia Steeples. Maybe that's kind of your second or third chance that we were talking about before, is the fact that even though you were like a do dirty like highwayman,
He was legacy, so it got in.
you legacy, that's right.
Legacy.
So you need like some sort of like frat name. I'm Brad Steeples.
Chadwick.
Chadwick Steeples. You definitely need something fancy that kind of
Well,
like.
it can't be just Brad because we know.
No,
Brad.
of course not.
It's got to be Bradley.
Brad-
And you have to go by Brad.
Bradley Steeples.
Or it has to be Chadwick. It can't just be a Chad. You have to go by your full
Exactly.
ridiculous name.
Let's think about names that are like that kind of like sound kind of haughty.
Nancy.
That are American.
Nancy
Like,
boy.
Oh, what's the other thing on this? I'm sorry, I'm right.
Travis.
Travis Steeples.
Travis.
Are you like a country singer? A new age country singer?
Yeah, that's exactly what that sounds like. Travis Staples.
Where were you?
So I am
Dog
looking
got
for
shot.
your. I'm looking for your.
Drove in a truck.
That's right.
I mean,
no.
talking about the most American name, Travis.
Is Brock short for something?
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
What is Brock short? Bartholomew?
I have no idea.
What was
I think
it
it's
like
just
Arthur
Bart-
or Castor?
Pollux.
Well,
Liam.
I mean, Nastasia herself is the most haughty,
What?
horrible human being
Is-
probably ever.
Well, let's think about this. What about something that is Shakespearean?
Yeah.
Prospero, Steeples,
Iago.
Iago,
Quintus.
Quintus. Ooh. That's a good name.
Othello.
Othello. Yeah, that's
That's as dark as he gets. Man.
Titus.
Titus. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take any of those. Just pick one.
You're going to be Titus Steeples?
I don't care.
Guildenstern.
It doesn't matter to me.
Guildenstern
Names have never been anything that I've
Steeples?
cared
Oh,
about.
that's great. So Titus Steeples, Titus? Is that what you want, though? Does that sound interesting? I guess it is.
Yes. There we go. Well, see, I was going to go with whatever you said or that one. That's fine. It's just a name.
Titus Steeples.
I don't get into that part. That's never really been.
So I'm trying to find the person who from the old campaign. Who
I
was against
thought
him.
she had a brother who was also a minister, though.
She did. His name was Banneker.
Yes.
You want to be Banneker Steeples?
That would
I
make
like
more
that.
That's
sense
pretty
because I don't
fucking
think
badass.
did Nastasia ever have children?
No,
She
but
didn't seem to be a type.
that's true. So you could be you wouldn't be the younger brother, but you would be the brother's son. You'd be Banneker Steeples the second.
Okay, I can do
That's
that.
badass. I love it. I love it.
Banneker.
Banneker.
You're someone who panics.
Yes. The Bannicist.
I'm still trying to
So
find the guy.
I would be Nastasia's nephew.
Yeah, it could be a nephew. Yeah.
I like that alignment a little better. I don't see the Lady in White having children after taking over one of the largest criminal enterprises.
Remember Ambius Krim?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So Nick, I'm having trouble finding his name.
Lost to time.
Well, I'm looking through the rogues gallery that we maintained on the old wiki of that previous game, and I'm just not finding anything.
Do we still have the old campaign updates?
Yes, I'm looking through right now.
Okay.
What do we do for armor?
So you
say it in
get
your
you don't
archetype.
get any. You'll get everything that your archetype grants you.
Okay.
So if you go to your archetype, that gives you.
I wrote that down.
Okay, yeah.
Does the clothes provide any damage additional modifiers? Zero.
Dangerous and basically you bleed.
Natural and dangerous.
In a Pacific Constellation, you're not the only person in clothes.
Yep.
They're only
Almost
clothes.
everybody is.
Yeah.
Every class doesn't start with it. I think
Rangers
Ranger and Marshal's the only two, right?
Yeah, you Warrior and Rangers are the only two that start with them. Yeah. So
I always
three
say
of us
Marshal.
should have armor.
I'm still over in the D&D terms of Marshal instead of Warrior. I should.
It's alright.
Though I do like this take them down. That is one amazing trait.
Take it down's badass. It's nice. So I can't find it,
I've never
Nick,
had
so we're going
that.
to find something else.
Okay.
Oh, now I just need equipment. I need to look up my knuckle duster and my stiletto.
So it should be in the back of the character folio. You should have a full. So if you go to the very
that's
back,
right.
you should have a full
I'm
listing
thinking
of
of
all your
something like that.
stuff.
Vernon and Virgil were.
That's a little too close, I think. I will find something, though.
Cull Kinnett. Herms Ellister. Eustace Foster, that's not it. Dutch Holmes. Dirge. It's not Dirge. Yeah, I'm not finding it, so we're going to find something.
Okay.
Elmer. You want Elmer?
No.
What's your
Yeah.
character's last name?
That's a good question. I didn't think of that either.
Yeah. Are you looking up names right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have Banneker Steeples II, who is the Aridane Highwayman. We have Terwin Forrester, the Ravanian Man-at-Arms.
That's me.
That's right. We need some Mikey's name.
So, Grolsteaders, what type of last names do they have? Like what?
Well, you chose
nationality?
Stahl. I would choose something that's one syllable, something
Okay.
simple.
Okay.
Because if you basically use Vernon Stahl as the model for character names out of there, clearly they're older names.
What do you think about Alvin?
We already have an Alistair.
Alvin. Oh, so it's too similar?
Yeah, too similar.
Okay.
Phonetically.
Warren. Kind of like that.
Warren.
Alvin, Simon,
Theodore.
Right?
Are you looking up Irish name?
No, just names.
Because the Grolsteaders are Irish-ish?
No.
Or is that... No, that's
Like-
Dunish.
They're
They're
Americana.
like Americana, like Old West.
Ah, okay.
Masterson.
Glenn. That's a good one.
Would you speak Jesse?
Jesse. What are some Old West names we can think of?
Tuberculosis?
Tuberculosis. Well, tuberculosis is definitely. So let's see. Old West.
That's Jesse James.
Old Western.
Cole. You know Cole.
Francis.
What's the what's Jane?
Wyatt.
Wyatt. What's the
Sam.
Wyatt? Sam.
Bat Masterson. Clay.
Bat Masterson.
Clay is pretty good.
Ike.
What was
I like Ike.
what was Swearingen's first name?
I like
Al.
Ow.
Al. I think he should be Al. Swearingen.
Earl.
Swedgen.
Swearingen.
Swedgen.
Cocksucker.
Clayton.
Yeah. Virgil.
I said that, yeah. You didn't want
Morgan. Frank.
I would go with Francis instead of Frank.
You could have one of those.
Black Frank.
You could have
Black
one of those
Francis.
first last names, like Miller.
Henley.
What about Cassidy?
Cassidy. It's
Boone.
almost too on the nose.
So here's Alonzo, Austin, Bart.
Why don't it be
I'm
Colt?
looking at the same list as you, I think.
Just be Colt.
Colt,
Colt McCoy, man.
Colt.
Levi,
Oh.
Porter, Ruben.
I always think of weird. I mean, that is just that kid.
Wyatt.
Got named that.
I think I'm good. I think I got all my stuff.
Gary.
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 Can we avoid Gary?
Is that too silly?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'd want to
It
say
is
Gary
pretty
a
silly.
lot.
You
Yeah.
go with
Gary.
I would go with Garrett before I would
Garrett?
go
Oh,
with
absolutely.
Gary, get on your knees for America.
Garrett is interesting. Warren, Morgan.
I do like Warren.
You got any popcorn left?
So,
Yeah, honey.
Mike, names?
It's good, isn't it?
I have a couple.
Actually, I have stuff.
Vincent?
I was thinking of doing something with names, so
I think I'm going to go with Warren.
or
Hunter Claviger.
Hunter Claviger, or Harper. Like Harper's an actual name.
Harper Claviger. I like that.
Harper's a cool name.
Harper's a badass name. Yeah. Harper Claviger. That's awesome because it's almost an alliteration to what you do with your. Well, you're.
Right.
Yep. Ding.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it. You should do that.
Do Harper? Okay. That's the one that stuck out the most to me, so...
Harper's badass. Harper Claviger. That's awesome. So, we have Terwin Forrester. We have Harper Claviger. We have Alistair. Do you have a surname?
It's Krim.
Krim. Oh, love it.
Yeah.
So, he's a descendant of Ombius Krim. Great.
He might not know it either, I think.
We have Banneker Steeples, and then we have...
Warren. Haven't thought of a last name yet.
Buffett.
No. We're going for, like, single syllable.
Warren Westwood.
Warren Bane.
Warren Bates.
Land.
Huh?
Land.
Land?
Why are you a
We gotta go
bastard?
superhero, man. It's gotta be the double.
Warren Wyatt.
Warren Wyatt.
Warren Wyatt. Yeah, that's it.
That sounds like somebody went to the Western name generator.
Warren Wyatt.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fucking
Warren
wrestler.
Woods.
Woods?
Yeah.
If you wanted alliteration.
No, I don't want alliteration.
Warren West.
It sounds like the guy from Texas who couldn't think of a better wrestling name than just, I'm just going to say Warren Wyatt, man.
Lane.
Right.
He comes in with 6 gun shooters.
So let's talk about a little bit your character. So your character was a camp follower.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been on the trail,
Right.
right? Warren Rhodes,
Peace.
like RHODES.
Warren Peace.
Warren Rhodes.
Warren Peace, I love
Is
it.
there
I
a
kinda like
base
Warren
name?
Rhodes.
Is there a base name for
You think
Gralsters?
you like that? Warren Rhodes?
Yeah, kinda.
RHODES?
Yeah.
How about Warren Grawl? What would be the Gralster's base name?
We don't have
Warren
anything set.
Pants.
Hold on, guys. So keep in mind, the only Gralster we've ever had, quote, in the game has been
Yeah.
Nick. So
Mhm.
he kind of set the tone for what they're like. You want to do Warren Rhodes?
Yeah, let's do that.
RHO.
Yep,
DES?
RHODES.
Okay, so to clarify, so we have Warren Rhodes, the camp follower, played by Nick, your Gralstetter. Tim is playing an Aerodane Highwayman named Banneker Steeples II. Walter is playing a Dunman convict named Alistair Krem. Mike is playing a Rovanian dragoon named Harper Claviger. This is a great guy. This is awesome. These are all descendants of previous characters, too.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have
Kind of had to do it after
Yeah.
you guys did it.
Adam, who's playing a Rovanian man-at-arms named Terwin Forrester. So, Warren Rhodes.
You're going to be terroring it up.
That's right. Warren Rhodes, Banneker Steeples, Harper Claviger, Terwin Forrester, and Alistair Krim. That's a story I would read.
That's a good name.
Those are some badass names. Those are definitely quote in world, I think, for our game.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that we kind of came up with these really unique kind of approaches for each of our characters. We all have something really neat that we can do. So speaking of neat things we can do, the last step in character creation, after we spent our reward points and filled all your stats in, would be to select something that's what we call an iconic trapping. Basically, one thing that maybe you want, like maybe it's armor, maybe it's, I don't know, whatever it could be. It could be a dog, could be a coach, could be something cool that you think would be really fitting for your character to have, almost like something iconic about them, something that defines them. Because you read like stories like in books, and like there's always something unique or something that the person has that helps kind of define who they are. It doesn't necessarily have to be a weapon. It can be anything. In truth, has anyone thought about what they want to do for iconic trappings?
Yep.
I think Nick, you mentioned something.
Yeah, I want a goat.
You want a goat?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Could it be albino goat?
Absolutely. What was the name
Alright.
of your goat for
Clarence.
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 It's constantly on top of buildings.
He had the one horn
Yeah.
that comes straight out of his forehead. Yeah.
What's your goat's
It's like
name?
dog meat from
Oh.
Fallout 4. Dog meat would appear on top of buildings all the time.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'll think about that.
Okay. So Warren Rhodes, the camp follower, has a goat. That's your unique trapping. I love it. I love it. Is it a heavy war goat?
So these are specifically stat granting things.
Well, they can be.
These are
whatever you want.
They can be.
Oh,
They
okay.
could be a weapon. They could be armor. They could be something that's non-stat granting. It could be something just completely and wholly unique. That's from the book or something outside the book. Even I mean, whatever you may think. And once again, you can choose whatever you want,
I got it.
as long as it makes sense for your character. And ultimately, most things that are in the book are not game breaking. Like they're going to give you a bump up, but you can choose something that seems to be fitting for your character. I'm all in. As long as
Alright.
you can justify it
I'm
from a
gonna-
story
I'm-
perspective.
I'm gonna name her Agnes.
Agnes, love it. Does Agnes have stats?
Sure.
She's an animal companion. Can she make an attack?
She's a small animal.
Yeah.
Which means she only does damage equal to her brown bone, which is 2. Because small creatures don't do fury dice.
You have the card for a small animal?
No, I don't. There are no cards for small animal. Or, no, I don't. Maybe I do, somewhere. I don't know. We're not going to allow him to run this animal in combat.
No,
I'm telling you.
I don't want
Don't-
it. It'll die.
Don't go second edition on it. Don't
That's
buy
right.
your war dogs.
Let's not figure out the hit points of your fucking attack hawk, is all I'm saying.
Marmaduke!
Marmaduke! Release the hound!
The Hound.
Your tripod.
So has anybody else thought about like an iconic trapping?
I got
Makes
mine.
sense for the hero? What do you think, Walter?
Oh, you'll already know what it is. It's a finger bone necklace.
Oh, interesting. Love it. Is it Ambius's? Oh, no, you're sure fingers. Oh, no. Makes sense. All right. We're on the same page.
For all the fingers that you broke?
It's been around for a long time. He doesn't know where it came from.
Okay.
Mysterious.
I'm into it. Didn't Ambius have that?
He did. He used to wear a necklace of the fingers of the people he would kill himself. Finger.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay, I'm into it. And this can literally be anything out of the book if you think it makes sense. Instead of plate armor, cool. If it makes sense to wear full plate, cool.
Yeah, that's what I want. Plate, no.
I want a tank.
My father was super overprotective, so he bought me plate mail. Yeah.
I got the Kugelpanzer
He saved up for years.
from the Van Gouge system.
I would really like to have something.
He saved up for
that,
his lifetime, his
right.
father's lifetime.
Right.
Let's let Adam have the floor. What are you thinking?
I'd really like to have something that Gwydion owned at one point.
Fire?
Yeah, no, like
Can I own fire?
Maybe his patch.
actually, I was thinking.
off his burning
No, I
corpse,
was thinking-
which has been light-
I was thinking Terran would wear a bronze patch.
Okay.
But that's not something that would be
Yeah,
iconic trapping.
No,
No.
because he wouldn't want to be called Iron Eye.
Right.
Maybe like some sort of like flint and steel or something like that. Something special or some sort of tinderbox or.
Give it some thought.
Yeah.
We'll come back. What are you thinking,
So, is
Harper
the,
Clavager?
yeah. I mean, I was thinking about.
Are you a bow guy? Are you a gun guy?
I mean, really, I can go any way with this character. Because, I mean, the family's been pretty much a woodsy group. So they normally, I think, like, the previous generation would have been bows, but I think. Crossbow. I think he's probably going to move into the crossbow, maybe guns. We'll see where that goes if we want to do guns. But, so, I mean, he gets Arbalest crossbow from being a warrior.
Oh, nice.
I mean, he could potentially have, like, a longbow from, like, kind of the Harper background, or I didn't know if he, since he's a dragoon, a horse would be in play. Because, I mean, they are from the Girdle, and the Girdle is known for horses.
That's right.
You
want Storm Horse?
Sure, I'll take Storm Horse. You want Storm Horse? I'll take a fucking Storm Horse. Get out of here.
That's where they come from.
Yeah.
So, if you remember, in the storm horses in the Girdle were raised by the folk in the Sedwall Mountains. And Lord Randall the Long, we spoke about last time, like the guy who was made king of the clans because he was long as schlong.
Right.
They were breeders of storm horses that they sold to the Ravanians around Durendal, specifically to Vance Daltonthor when he was Duke there. So it may make a lot of sense to actually have a storm horse.
Yeah, because Splendrid ended up taking over. I mean, he's a lord of his own right? So
that's right.
Yeah.
Sweet. Now you get to name the Storm Horse.
Thunder.
So many extra names. Yes.
Right. So a storm horse, for comparison, essentially a storm horse is a Clydesdale specifically bred for war. They stand incredibly tall. They're well muscled, and they don't bolt from battle.
Bred
Right,
for
they're
war and
raised
for
in-
Christmas.
Yeah.
Bred for the war on Christmas.
More than war on Christmas.
What war we just got up? The war against Christmas. So if you want a storm horse, you can do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Storm Horse. Yeah.
But you're getting a bit brown because this is Green Palos, baby.
No! I have to wear it right
You
there back.
gotta hold on to its mane.
Right. So, Tim, have you thought anything about what your Highlandmen have?
I was thinking a pistol, but I don't know if that's too far-fetched.
What do you have for your weapons right now?
I was just going to take the hunting bow.
The hunting bow, yeah. It's up to you. I mean, you don't want to choose. You don't want to. If you're going to choose a weapon for your iconic trapping, I wouldn't choose anything that may be duplicative against what you already have. So, if you like, as an example, like if I already had a bow, I wouldn't choose a pistol. If I already had a sword, I wouldn't choose a different type of sword unless I wanted to replace that sword with it. But once again, you choose whatever you want. If you think that a pistol makes sense, choose a pistol. There are a host of new weapons in Main Gash. Remember, if you look in the back of the character folio, there are a ton of new weapons in there. So if you saw something in there that you really liked, you could choose that.
I haven't looked at the weapons in there, actually.
Just go to the back of your folio. The character folio. Every
Oh,
weapon
main gas
is in
stuff
there.
is in here already?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. All weapons, all armors, all shields, all listed in the back of the character folio. Only $4.99 on Drive-Thru RPG. And coincidentally, I will note for those who are listening or watching, we actually get new character folios every time we do a new character. So we have like a stack of character folios over here of retired characters. It's nice to revisit every time.
I want the magical item of the horse on.
The horse on! You can't have that. That's an artifact.
What? No.
Sorry, you can't have the artifact of the horse on.
It would make no sense in this campaign whatsoever.
Well,
I think you always have room for the horse.
If you
right?
remember, the horse on actually sits outside of Durendal.
Oh, that's funny.
Remember, it was never taken away.
I thought it was
right.
Hastings that laid siege. No?
No, I do not want the horse on.
What is
What would I do?
Witchfire?
Like,
You load it and you shoot stuff out of it. That's what you do with this.
So, Witchfire, you couldn't choose that. I would say it's probably only exception because it's technically magic. But
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Witchfire
what it
comes
was.
from Witchstone. They essentially turn it into what's called Pyre Shot. And if you've seen them before in the game, like they're green shots and they explode and catch that person and the person next to them on fire.
Right. Okay. So I
Incendiary.
wouldn't have ammunition. I would have the. You could get a pistol, but you could not have ammo.
That's right.
So okay, well then.
Well, Witchfire, pistol, or something like that would be off limits anyway, because those are quote magic items.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The regular like lead ball pistol, I think, is available.
Yeah.
what kind of
that's right.
what kind of weapons and armor did Gwydion use?
He's a sword and board guy. He used a mortuary sword and a metal shield. He went big on the shield. But most of the time, he put those things down when he proceeded to burn things.
Yeah.
Like he always cast aside his weapons and like he'd find like a torch and he'd find he'd bring pints of oil and torches and just he'd proceed to set people on fire. In fact, the reason why the torch is even listed in the game is because of Jeremy playing Iron Eye, playing Gwydion Forrester, because he could burn things. They were like, we need to create stats for the torch when you use it in combat. So it's a simple melee weapon.
Plus 2 damage against some knowledge.
That's right.
For a total of 0 damage.
What is the actual hand cannon? Is that like a blunderbuss? That's like it's a sawed-off shotgun, basically.
Well, a hand cannon is. So let me see main gash real quick.
Yeah, there should be a picture of
you.
it. Is that
there is
new.
not. It's not in
that's new
Zweihänder.
too, right?
It's a new weapon. The hand cannon is in main gash, and the hand cannon. I will read this aloud because it's a fun one.
Recoil.
The hand cannon. This deadly precursor to the bazooka is uncommon. Only a brave few dare tote one around in a fight. Many a life and limb have been lost to a grenade that didn't fire from the mouth of this absurd launcher. Essentially, you've probably seen pictures of it's a cannon that sits on like a chain around somebody. Basically, they're carrying a cannon over their shoulders.
Oh wow!
It's a hand cannon.
A hand cannon.
Small, like one that's about like the length of a man, about the width of like a coconut.
Found you. No one here.
Are you, just out of curiosity, Tim? Are you martial, melee? What's
No,
your...
I just have it comes with simple melee, simple range, and martial range.
Okay.
Try.
What you're thinking of, Tim, I believe, is the...
Dueling pistol.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the hand bombard I just ran off. The hand cannon is the size of a pistol with the power of a musket. You will make others pray. Is this your lucky day, knave? When you level it at them.
Right.
It's your lucky day, knave. That's the...
Well, that's what I was
That's the
thinking
hand
it
cannon.
was. I thought
Yeah.
it was like a. It's basically the predecessor to a sawed-off shotgun.
No. It's
Like
a
it's like a
hand cannon.
magnum
It's an oversized
pistol.
pistol.
Oh, okay. So
Like
it's like the Dirty Harry gun.
Yes.
Desert Eagle.
Yeah.
Yes. In this sense. Now, I will say, the
The
thing about the hand cannon
What is the
specifically...
recoil? I've never heard of that.
That's a fun new one. That's a new quality.
That's a
So
fun
here's
one.
here's
I
what
know what recoil is.
here's
But
what recoil does. After being fired, weapons of this quality forces will be resist with toughness or be shoved out of the engagement. If you critically fail this test, you also suffer an injury based on your damage condition track. If
Fine.
moderately wounded, you get a hyperextended elbow. But seriously, it's stress fracture. If it's grievously, it's a splintered elbow. You have to load it with 3 ammunition instead of 1. So if you critically fail that toughness test, boom! It basically
what's the
flashing
difference in
backward.
damage then?
What's
Still
that?
the same in damage?
Mhm.
Does it
There's,
do a spread? Or?
what-
Punishing.
Oh, punishing.
Yep.
All the negatives there though.
That's-
Recoil.
Yeah.
Well, so
Volatile.
it's both punishing and gunpowder,
Yes.
Nasty.
and that's
So you
So
can't
you can't
dodge it.
dodge
can't dodge it. Explodes on 1s and 6s, and you can add an extra fury die.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's brutal.
It's pretty nasty. It's a pretty nasty weapon.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
And it can blow up in your hand.
And it can blow up in your hand. That's
No,
what I saw
man,
bottle
that's
of.
not only
That's
can
a
it blow up in
feature.
your hand, it could blow your arm off. That's the. Let me be specific.
Yeah.
If you don't succeed that toughness test, you get blown backwards. But if you critically fail it, you suffer an injury that either breaks your hand, hyperextends your elbow, or breaks your shoulder.
See, I was thinking more like in the dueling pistol type thing because of his class. That's the only
That's interesting. There's a
because
dueling pistol. There is a dueling pistol, in fact.
yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. There's no special attributes. It's just gunpowder.
Yeah, but I think
means it's stable.
it's definitely an upgrade
Dueling
from the
pistol in the
flintlock
back?
pistol because it's
Oh,
not
yeah, it's
volatile.
in here.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I thought the flintlock wasn't. I thought
dueling pistol. It's just
only
gunpowder.
dragon.
That's
was.
right.
I
Yeah,
don't think
dueling,
the hand cannon was volatile, was it?
Oh, definitely.
a dueling pistol will essentially be like a little derringer.
Yeah.
But it's strictly, the only quality it has is gunpowder.
Right.
That's it.
which
No-
is a good
No
thing.
danger. It's just.
Right. Not volatile.
Yeah.
Not weak.
Mhm. It's a really fancy long pistol.
We'll
If
pop them.
you've seen
I'm gonna pair it.
Hamilton.
you've seen Barry Lyndon rather, the
I don't think so.
movie by Kubrick.
You got it right. It's Barry Lyndon.
Barry Lyndon. There's a duel in the very beginning between him and like some lord. It's been a while since I've seen it, but essentially they have dueling pistols. They pull out that wooden box.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I was thinking because of his class, that's why he would.
That's
have
cool. Like a dueling
Like,
pistol.
Yeah, I mean, because he's such a snob, and like
Yeah.
he takes affront to everything that he would duel. I mean,
That's right.
that would
I
be his-
challenge you to a duel, my friend. Does he have a glove?
Yes.
Is it accompanied by a white glove?
I throw my
gauntlets down.
I throw my glove at thee.
I have a glove.
I don't know. That was just an idea.
Yeah,
so.
it's interesting. I like it.
It was-
Usually, people for iconic trappings lean on
Like if you're a rat catcher, you have like a small vicious dog. If you're a coachman, you get a coach. If you're a dragoon, you get a horse. If you're a warrior type of profession, you choose something that's explicit for that. But once again, they don't have to be weapons or armor. They can be something story-based. You kind of to fit the vision of what you think your character would be, but something valuable that would really stand out for you to have.
Well, I was thinking that, or I don't know, an upgrade on the armor, just because that would be something he would probably have the money to do.
Sure.
Versus what everybody else has.
Like a fancy set of quilted or leather.
Yeah.
Is it possible to be made of a specific material? Like it could be
we
cuir
got all that.
bouilly, like boiled, molded, durable leather that's kind of form-fitting. It looks almost like muscles on you. So like cuir
Leather
bouilly.
has abs.
Castle Forged.
Cuir bouilly basically increases your encumbrance value of the armor by 1, but it gives you the natural quality for the armor.
Really?
Yeah. So, by adding royal water to the leather crafting process, an artisan can turn soft leather into a more molded, durable material. Traditionally utilized by rich militias, cuir bouilly is used strictly in times of war. Often tasseled and covered in fur, makes for great protection and is highly flexible.
So, lessens the encumbrance?
It increases the encumbrance. You increase encumbrance value by 1, but you gain the natural quality in return.
What's the natural quality?
Plus 10 to dodge.
Oh, plus 10
Which
to
you
dodge.
get if you're not wearing armor. So if you're wearing just clothing, as an example, you get plus 10 to dodge, because it has the natural quality.
Qualities can be found on this page.
That's right, qualities.
But I've never heard that armor before. That's
Yeah,
new too?
it can only be used for. It could basically be hide, leather, ringmail, or brigandine, but there are basically materials in the new book, special materials you can make things from, like meteoric iron, or mithril, or ironwood, or cold iron, or cuir bouilly, and that modifies things with weapons and armor and shields.
What does cold iron and meteoric iron do?
So cold iron is dug from deep below the earth, a rare material that appears similar to iron. However, a discerning eye can tell the difference. Regular iron has a pallid shine, while cold iron glimmers like the stars in the vault of night. While weapons wrought from cold iron are far more brittle than their iron and steel cousins, they are naturally inimical to the Fae and other unnatural creatures. Hexers generally carry a sidearm wrought from cold iron to combat supernatural creatures. So when you use a weapon of cold iron, it basically is made the benefactor of the Journal of Petty Magic Anoint weapon. But if you critically fail to strike with the weapon, it can potentially break. Basically, it's kind of like the old silvered weapons in D&D, like 2nd edition. So the other iron you asked about, meteoric. So meteoric iron, smelted from fallen stars. Meteoric iron is incomprehensibly adamantine strong, rare to find, even more difficult to work. The techniques to forge meteoric iron are closely guarded and kept secret by the same blacksmiths who practice the lost art of runesmithing. So essentially, melee weapons and range weapons made with meteoric iron with a throwing quality gain additional chaos damage when they determine to injure a foe.
Wow.
Yep. When you wear armor that's made of meteoric iron, you subtract a chaos damage when somebody hits you to determine injuries. Yeah.
That definitely interests me, both in either on a weapon or armor.
Yeah.
What about Daunton Thorn Steel?
That would be the equivalent of meteoric iron. Daunton Thorn Steel.
Good old Daunton Thorn Steel. Outlived his creator.
It's a thing.
What type of?
So how do you spell whatever?
It's CUIR BOUILLI. It's actually I think it's a Greek word if I'm not mistaken. Cuir bouilly. It's pronounced really strangely. No, it's French. I'm sorry. It looks like cuir bouilly, but it's pronounced cuir bouilly.
So in Missouri, we should call it what?
Kerbuli.
Kerbuli, man.
Kerbuli armor.
That's that Kerbuli.
So you got
Like you're going down to Versailles and they're like the Ozarks.
So are you choosing armor for that? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I think that's something unique.
Do you want leather? Do you want hide? Do you want ringmail or brigandine? Because cuir bouilly is a material.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you would choose an armor and it'd be made of that material. So it'd be hide, it'd be fur, hide, leather, ringmail, or brigandine. And you can choose any of those you want. You want the heaviest, you can choose the heaviest. It's up to you.
So what is brigandine? That's the strips of iron and and leather together,
Yeah,
right?
they're little plates sewn into basically suede or leather.
Yeah, so it's imagine like a quilted coat with metal plates sewn
It
in.
was all over in Braveheart.
Right. That's what I thought it was. I thought that's what it was, but
It was like shoulder to
yeah,
heel.
I'll take the strongest. I
The
mean,
brigandine.
yeah.
What's the brigandine's qualities?
Did you still pick up natural with that?
None, so it gains natural.
Who gains
So yeah,
natural?
so 3,
But not dangerous.
And then it would have 5 encumbrance.
and then 5 encumbrance. So basically, it's ring mail.
No, ring mail
Ring
separate.
natural. No.
Ring mail
I'm saying
As far as encumbrance and damage threshold goes, yes. It would be the same.
ooh, 5. Man, that is big. All right, I'll take it.
5 armor or encumbrance.
Encumbrance.
Yeah, not damage threshold modifier.
Well, that would be bad.
I was like, jeez.
Oh,
Yeah, but when you start adding all your encumbrance values up, then
That's
you'll
when it gets
it's like the
dangerous.
5 is like
That's huge. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
What do you think would be... Because are there any materials that augment shields?
Meteoric iron.
All right.
No.
Okay. So, I'm trying to decide whether or not I want some armor or a meteoric weapon. Like,
Jonathan Thorn Steel. So melee weapons and range weapons are the throw-in quality. Gain additional chaos die. Those are made of meteoric iron.
mhm. Yeah. Do we know what type of armor Gwydion wore?
You want full plate.
I was say, I think he would have gone with the heaviest stuff he possibly could have had.
Oh, man.
Same thing for Odysseus as well. I mean, he was.
Yes, they did. That's
There
true.
They would've
is
worn the
nothing
heaviest
necessarily
thing.
prohibiting you from choosing that.
Yeah, I know.
Just
Well, I've worn plate before. I know the
It's
drawbacks.
a pain in the ass.
heavy.
It's
You can't
like,
dodge
you
or
planning
parry.
on carrying anything else?
Can I say the chain of his necklace
can
is made of
parry, you
meteoric
can't
iron?
dodge.
Absolutely, yeah. That's interesting. Because it almost implies that it has, like, it came before Ambius to some degree, too.
Yep.
Almost maybe he, as the one who added finger bones onto it, but it may have came before him.
Okay.
Maybe perhaps from the Siabran.
So,
I have a titanium.
so I've worn munitions plate before.
Yep.
And while that's tempting, I think it would be better for the family if I had, as far as funsies go, is if I had Gwydion's mortuary sword and it had meteoric iron.
Sure. Well, hold on.
Okay.
That predates Downton Thorn Steel. So it wouldn't be meteoric iron.
Would there be anything that I could attach to that?
What do you mean attached to that?
Like a material that I could attach to a sword?
Cold iron.
Cold iron. He didn't really fight very many demons or anything like that.
No, he didn't.
Iron.
Your father's still alive. Why would he have his grandfather's sword?
Well, I know why Dismas wouldn't want his, quote, father's sword, because he's not his father.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah. A little bit of that going on.
he's his uncle.
That's right.
But,
His father uncle.
yeah, but Gwydion married his mother after his father died.
That's right. He did the Seth Bullock.
Yeah.
Where he basically, his brother died and he married his brother's wife and adopted the son.
Well, yeah, I think it'd be cool if I could have a meteoric sword or armor, but I don't know if that would be appropriate.
So
Nope. Do what you feel is best. So Nick, you have a goat.
I got it.
Make Agnes.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, you have a Querbeau set of brigandine. Walter, you have an adamantine necklace of finger bones. Mike, you have a storm horse named
Matthew.
Matthew. Oh my god!
Yes.
Yeah, we get it.
What a
We don't need to go
name.
any further. Alright, I get it. And Adam, what do you have?
What?
Don't worry
Matt?
about it.
Okay, all
I'll
right.
tell you off the
Yeah,
camera.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have meteoric iron mortuary sword.
Okay.
Because when Gwydion died, it was ruined and he had it remade.
Sure.
That'll work.
Okay.
Nice retcon.
So, love it. Love it. So, does everyone have all their stats plugged in, all their numbers and maths done, an understanding of their talents, their professional traits? Walter, did you get a ancestral trait already for being a gunman?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay, so go to humans and then look at what are the racial traits?
Oh, no, I totally did.
Okay, what did you choose?
Grim Resolve.
Oh, yeah. Grim Resolve.
How can I not?
That or Manifest Destiny where you choose a 55? Is that what that one is? Or natural?
I think it's natural selection.
Natural selection, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Ooh, what is that?
Getting a 55.
JJ stat to 55.
Any stat to 55.
Well, that's pretty good.
It's very strong. It's super legit.
Yeah, I think I'll stay with the Grim Resolve.
Cool.
My Destiny isn't good.
So what we'll do is we will take a 10-minute break, and then we will come back to do a little bit of mock combat.
Kick some ass.
See you next week.
See you guys.